Hey, are you tired of all the gloom and doom surrounding home prices? Well, I might have some good news for you. You know, those headlines are only half the picture. You see, the media loves to focus on attention-grabbing sound bites and cherry-picked data, which can lead to a lot of confusion, especially if you're trying to figure out what's happening with the housing market in Denver, Colorado. Let's take a look at some important numbers as it relates to our housing market here in Denver, as well as what the heck is going on with inflation. Now, you have to understand, for home prices, there are two different methods used to compare home prices over different time periods. First one is year over year. Comparison is a measurement of change in home prices, say the month of June 2023 to June 2022. And since we report our numbers in arrears, we're going to be looking at June. Now, year-over-year comparisons provide a really comprehensive view of long-term trends, and it's great for evaluating growth rates and determining, is the market appreciating or is it depreciating? Now, number two is month-over-month. So obviously this is comparing, say, a June home prices to a change in home prices from May. Now, this is often used to track immediate shifts in the supply and demand, seasonal trends, or the impact of a specific event on the housing market. And for some numbers that I'm going to be reporting on, I'll even pull up 2019. Why? I'll tell you in a little bit. So why is it important to know this right now? Well, because we're about to enter a few months when home prices could present an opening for the ready-to-buy home buyers and sellers. Hang with me. These are really interesting times that we're in. You know, while the weather was heating up here, finally in June in Colorado, the housing market in the Denver metro area was experiencing some unseasonable cooling. Yeah, throughout the month of June, we only sold 266 homes, which is 20% less than in June of last year and down 1% from May of this year. And in June, the median close price for a Denver metro area house was $599,820, which is 2.1% lower than this time last year, but 1.2% higher than it was in May of this year. And just in case you were wondering, it's a whopping 40% higher than it was back in 2019. As for the median list to sold price, or the amount the seller was getting based upon his list price, in June, most of the sellers were getting 100%. That's the same as they were getting in May, but that's down slightly from the 101.6% they were getting in 2022, but it's the same as they were getting in 2019. Interestingly, the median sold prices month over month have risen over the last 5 months, and the median close price is now 12% higher than it was back in January of this year. Now, new listings were down 26% from this time last year. Pending or under contracts were also down about 4 to 4.5% from this time last year, but closings were down a whopping 20% from last year. And you know, I'm pulling these numbers from DMAR and Smedra, which are the two boards here in the Denver metro area for realtors. So depending on who you follow, the numbers might vary slightly. Now, when you look at these numbers, the solds, the new listings, the pendings, they're all down from 2019 levels. And if you've made it this far with me, by the way, thank you so very much for sticking with me and listening to this. And if you like what you're hearing, please give it a thumbs up. It would really help my channel. But you might be wondering, why does she keep mentioning 2019? Now, as I've mentioned in other market update videos, I think we really have to start looking closer at 2019 when we're looking to figure out the strength or weakness in our real estate market. Because if we just looked at 2020, 2021, and part of 2022, we're really looking at those unicorn years. The low interest, people relocating all over the place, a pandemic throughout the nation, basically a time in a market that I hope we will never see again. So if we really want to measure how we're doing now and not just listen to the news media sound bites, we have to go back to 2019. So median days on the market before the home went under contract is up 2 days to a total of 7 days from the 5 it took back in 2022. But it's 2 days lower than the 9 days it took back in 2019. And we also want to look at our supply of homes for sale, our months or weeks of inventory, supply and demand, right? We're sitting currently at 6 weeks of inventory, or about a month and a half, which is 1 week more than it was in May and 2 weeks more than it was in 2022, but actually the same as it was back in 2019. What does some of this mean for buyers? Well, those troubling headlines that say home values are falling, that might be accurate on a year-over-year basis. But we've also seen that since January of this year, they're climbing after the decreases of the winter. And the good news is that they're increasing slowly, so opportunity is still there for buyers right now. High interest rates, though, and steeper home prices have contributed to some of the buyers really staying on the sidelines in June. And this, of course, we saw in the number of closings, which decreased both from last year and from last month. On the bright side, potential buyers have slightly more time to make an offer, as the median days in the market has increased from June 2022. And although the total number of new listings may have decreased, buyers actually gained an additional week of inventory last month compared to this time last year. As for sellers, the number of fresh listings brought to the market by homeowners in the Denver metro area was down a big 26% from last year, but it's been ticking up modestly for the past 3 months. Still, it makes it a good time to be a seller. However, as a realtor, I'm aware high interest rates are most likely responsible for the slowing that we've seen. The reduced number of new listings, especially as homeowners are reluctant to give up that low rate they obtained over the last few years. The good news has been that inflation tumbled and so did mortgage rates this week. On Wednesday, when the Consumer Price Index, the CPI report, was released, it rose just 0.2% over last month, meaning that June inflation fell to 3% year over year, from the 4% in May and from a peak of 9.1% in June of 2022. But, it still remains above the Federal Reserve's 2% annual target rate, due to, in fact, higher home prices. So we're going to have to watch what the Fed does on July 25th and 26th, and how that may impact housing. In the meantime, interest rates adjusted downward a bit, which is good news for both sellers and buyers. What are your thoughts? What are you seeing in the market? Leave your comments down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Hi, my name's Peggy Dursthoff at Live Denver Suburbs, powered by HomeSmart. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And then check out this video over here. I give you a little tour of our latest listing, because you might know someone who wants an active 55 plus community to move into. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.